Okay, hi.
Oh, yeah, we made it, right?
Yeah, finally.
Pedro,
Nice,
nice to see you again.
nice to see you again,
It's always nice to have this chat with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has always been a pleasure to talk and connect with you. We haven't met that long ago, a couple of months, but
Yeah.
still good energy, positive vibes.
I love
That's
that.
what you need
I
here.
love that. I love that. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. And I'm really happy to actually get you here to also, through this platform,
Yeah.
share your experience,
Super.
especially in regards to living or migrating to a new country. I know Finland, for example, is not your original country of birth.
You can see the lovely face, right?
It's obvious, right? So the idea is like, tell us a bit about yourself, your
Okay.
background, where you're from, and how you ended up being here.
Yeah.
And we want to hear the whole experiences that you got on the way.
Yeah. Well, this is not the first country I migrate from, to. This is actually my third country. That's something perhaps you don't know.
Okay.
So I'm originally a Colombian. I was born and raised in Colombia, but my family is half Colombian, half Italian. So I'm a mixed culture family guy growing up in a really tropical Latin country with a different type of background and family like habits and so on.
Mm.
I moved initially to Europe back in 2016. So in Colombia, I studied political science. I did a minor in public administration, and I thought that at that time that was going to be the way you change the world, working for the government, doing public policy, and so on.
Oh, yeah.
That turned out to be not true at all, like personal interest and so on. After a bunch of things going in, Colombia is not an easy country, lots of corruption, 50 years of internal war, and it just got to the point that I needed to go somewhere else, and the best way for me to go out from Colombia was to find education.
Yeah.
Like that's like a normal path. I would say one of the multiple normal paths that people follow from this country to go out. And I ended up applying to the Nordic countries for master's programs. Of course, because they're really similar to the Latins.
Join the club. Huh?
So it was basically because I got tired of corruption, things not working, and what's the better example of the other side where things work? There's no like minimal corruption, everything is organized. Well, the Nordics. So I applied to master's programs in Sweden, in Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark, and Norway.
Oh, nice. Because I like, the way you started. Okay, this is what you knew what you were going to do.
Yeah.
And that is you applied through education.
Yeah.
So how did you manage the process of getting information about these places, the education you're going to pursue? Was it easy? Or can you tell a bit of that experience?
I think that at that moment, it was mainly Google. Like, right, you put universities in Sweden, universities in Switzerland, universities in Norway, universities in Denmark. So it comes a bunch of lists of universities. My ideal university was Uppsala University, and the reason was because mainly most of the professors that I had during my bachelor's program in Colombia, they, one way or another, they ended up studying something on political science or on Uppsala. Apparently they have, Uppsala is one of the best universities in the world. Is the second oldest universities in the Nordics. It's really renowned and recognized. And so I just started searching there, and I applied to a lot of them. It cost me a lot of money because each application is like 100 euros. And then you have to send, and then you have to take these international exams in English. And each time, like a day, I say, okay, we can send it to like 3 or 4 universities for free, but then you will have to send, like if you need to send to another one, they will have to pay $15 or something like that. So it's a whole business. Like it's an industry, no? It's an investment. Like you need money and you need
money, right? Yeah.
And like there are some that requires you documents. Like then you need to go through the whole legal process of authentication of the documents, or like the different types of grades, certificates that you have at home. You need to go and officialize them in Colombia. The process is that you go to the education ministry, so they stamp them. When they're stamped, then you go to the official translation centers that they will translate that, and they charge you a lot of money for each page because they charge you by a word that they translate. So I remember I maxed out my credit cards in Colombia because I didn't have those expenses. So that's an advice. Like, do the math. And then after that, you need to go to the Foreign Affairs Ministry to stamp them again and say that this is official translation and so on. All that process took over a year for me to finish. So I was planning to, at that moment, my ex-girlfriend, she moved first here to Finland because she actually managed to do that process on time, and I got some delays. So I had to wait another year for applying to the universities. So, but yeah, it is what it is.
I like what you said. From what I gathered, it took a lot of research.
Yeah.
It took money.
Yeah.
And it took patience also.
Yes.
These are the three things that I see from before you left. It was really important that you...
And I will add dedication because I studied in a bilingual school in Colombia, so I learned English since I was 4.
Okay.
But these international certifications like the TOEFL, ELS, and so on, they doesn't actually show that you know English. They show that you know how to answer the exam.
Yeah.
So the first time I did them, I didn't got the proper score that I needed, especially like in writing for some universities that I wanted to apply. So I had to retake it again. So that was a challenge.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the thing that we kind of emphasize, that you need to have that patience.
Yeah.
Especially when you have to go through the process in a way that it's, you get to a country legally, that you are able to at least have that rest of mind that you've done everything by the book. And that's the idea we're trying to also share. Okay, that the process and where to go for such information. You said Google was a very right place, and directly the websites of the schools also were really important to get to, and you get reliable information regarding what you are supposed to do next.
After I realized that one good trick that people that are like thinking on education and coming to Europe is that I didn't do it the first time because I'm doing a second master's at the moment. Doing my first master's was to contact directly the person that is in charge of the program and ask them for an online appointment. And say like, hey, let's have a online coffee or session where we can talk and discuss about some questions that I have about the program. Because those people, there is usually like a board that decides, but that person is the one that has the final decision on saying who's coming and who's coming, who is going into his program or not. So because like you have that already encounter with them, and then when you apply, you can send them an email 2 days later like, hey, thank you very much for the coffee that we had like a month ago. I just wanted to let you know that I already submitted my application to the program. I'm really looking forward to study at the university under your guide and so on. Like you need to do that, and that will give you like an advantage.
Dedication, maybe that would be so to say, because then I think that person would even recommend you in that case. Okay, that the person is.
And you generate like people will remember you.
Yeah,
and that also works later on when you have to find a job in this culture.
True. That's it. And I think that brings us now. Maybe let's start talking. You've come to the point. You've reached here. You've arrived here.
Okay. Yeah.
Tell us what's the.
So
that part.
I arrived here already in 2018. Prior COVID, prior all this madness that has happened last year. So I finished my master's in Denmark. I went to study social entrepreneurship and management. And that's important because like that is related to what I'm doing right now here in the University of Helsinki, where I'm working. And I arrived here with high expectations. I thought, okay, I'm coming from Denmark with a title from Denmark. I have experience working in multiple sectors, public, private, and so on. Finland is gonna be easy peasy to find a job, and you will be able to. I will be like tops 4 months, and then I will find a job. Nothing away from reality. Like, yeah, it depends on the country, of course, but like we need to understand that European countries are like small towns in big land. So, or at least the Nordics, they are like small towns in big land. So they have a lot of terrain, really few amount of people. Like Finland is 5.5 million, Sweden is 10 million, 10.5 million, Denmark is like 5.5 million, and fun fact that they have 20 million pigs. So there are more pigs than people.
I didn't think that before.
Okay. So, like, I encounter a lot of barriers. Yeah. The first one, and I completely understand, is the language barrier. The second one, like, no one knows you, so you need to know that, like, they need to know you, where you're coming from, what are you doing, why are you coming from, all the reasons. And the third barrier was mainly I think, cultural barrier, because like Latins, we tend to be loud, noisy, extroverts, talking. Like I remember, like the first thing I did when I moved with my ex-girlfriend to our apartment, there was a person like right in front in the building in front, and I waved. And that person never came out that window.
You thought you were in Colombia, right?
Yeah,
No. And I think that's the thing also. Like when we think about these things, they are very little things.
Yeah.
But they count.
Yeah.
For example, in Colombia, you're so used to saying hello to everybody. Yeah. But here, you saying hello to anybody is like weird.
Yeah, exactly.
And it takes time for these adjustments to happen.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a balance.
Yes. How did you get that balance? If I may ask.
I'm still struggling with that balance.
It's a work in progress, right?
Yeah, it's a never-ending progress, because like it's a balance between getting used to the culture that you're in, realizing that there are some boundaries, but as well not changing who you are as an essence of a person. And I think that was one of the biggest struggles I had, because I stopped being who I am in order to fit a culture
that's
that I sort of like tried to mimic myself into the culture, try to be, and it wasn't, in my personal opinion, it wasn't the correct path. Like, yeah, of course, I'm not gonna start listening reggaeton on the street at high volume at 10 p.m. in the night. No, that doesn't happen. Or here I'm gonna start hugging everyone that like, hi, my name is, and I hug it. No, but I can still do things with people I know and my friends. Like, I am a hugger, so I like to hug my friends. Of course, I always ask them, hey, can I hug you at the beginning? And then they just get to use to that every time you're going to say hi to them, you're going to hug them.
Yeah.
And I'm still like, if I'm loud, I'm loud. Like, if I talk loud, I will talk loud. I don't care.
Yes.
Like, I don't care anymore about what the other ones will think about me.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. I say this, that it's really important to be unapologetically you.
Yeah.
Even though you try to fit into the society, but you still remain true to your personality.
Yeah.
And it takes that balance.
Yes.
So where do you kind of put that balance where, okay, you are not changing your personality per se, but at the same time, you are adapting to your new environment, which also, we know that this is linked to your mental well-being.
Precisely.
Because, if you are like saying hello to everybody and all of a sudden you're like, okay.
Yeah, and precisely in a country like Finland, where you have these really long and dark winter times, it takes a toll on you. Like at the beginning, I was like, yeah, that's a lie. We don't suffer that, but no, like, yeah, it hits you. It takes your energy out. It's difficult, and if you add that, then that you are controlling yourself energy level always because people will think this or that, it will make it worse. So for me, what I'm trying to do now at the moment is trying to regain that energy, because I need to pull myself from the dark side, like what I call the dark side, or these darkness times. It's just trying to be happy again and trying to be who I am, and that comes from even listening music.
Yeah.
Like I love salsa. I play salsa at home. I love reggaeton. I play reggaeton at home.
Yeah.
And I don't mind anymore about like what the other will think about this.
You. Yeah. And that's really interesting. As long as you're not disrupting anyone or offending anyone, you should really do how you please and makes you happy.
Yeah.
And that's something that I would say. So it was a big shift. And coming back or tying this to when you left, a lot of people do not prepare for the mental side, the fatigue side, the fact where you have to be cautious of your environment, the fact that you have to fit into this society. This is something that we kind of also use this avenue to prepare people for, in terms of, okay, before you step out, also know what you can do, or when you are in the society, what can you do to make you get that balance? And like you say, playing music has been made for you. In my part, I've seen also that probably joining a community has really played an important part in me, fitting in, because we all deal with with the same thing here. And, so in that way, the takeaway from this would be, in order to prepare from the point of leaving home to the point of being here, to the point of, you're going to be here for the foreseeable future. How do you balance all this? And with the future prospect in mind, and also goals, in terms of what you want to achieve, and, how difficult you were balancing the fact that, you were fortunate to do something in your field. A lot of people do not have that privilege, that, I studied this and I'm able to practice in the field where I study or grow professionally.
Well, I'm now doing that. But during 3 years, I was working as a bartender and a waiter in a restaurant. Of course, like there are certain, you need to pay the bills.
No, you made it seem like you came from Denmark and you jumped into.
No.
Okay.
There has been 4 years of struggles.
Yeah.
And 4 years of suffering, and 4 years of changing who you are and trying to adapt. And I will say that the best thing, like, it's if you're gonna migrate and you're gonna go to another country, the first thing is try to figure out how long are you gonna be there. Like, for how long.
Or how long
I have friends that they moved from Colombia to Europe just to do the masters or to study. 2 years, they finished,
out,
back to Colombia, happy. That's how they envision themselves, how they think. Others were like, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna do all what I can to stay there for the whole life. Some of them succeed, some of them don't. Some of them didn't manage to get the paperwork, some of them didn't manage to get enough funds to live here, some of them something happened in Colombia, they have to go back. Some of them they found jobs in other places and so on, they move on. So that's the first step when you're thinking about, when you are like, before going even from your country or from the place you are from. That's one reason. One thing that you should be in account. Second is consider since the day one that this is not easy. It's not like a piece of cake. It's not like the dream American
American dream, greener pastures, like it's gonna be all.
Yeah, exactly. That you arrive there, suddenly you have the big house, the golden retriever, the car, your beautiful wife, 2 kids, and the PlayStation. No.
Those are dreams.
The dreams. Now, you're gonna face a lot of challenges. You don't know how the system works. You don't know how things are. I call that Europe has, like, European countries have these enormous amounts of loops. Like, you need a paper or you need like a registration to get something, but to get that something, you need that something to get that paper. Like, for instance, here is the easiest thing is like the registration number, like your social security number. You need to have a permanent address. But to have a permanent address, you need the social security number. So it's like,
which one first? Which one the other one? Yeah,
yeah,
that's
right?
the thing. And I call it, I think the idea is it's a system.
Yeah, it's the
And,
system.
and the system, that's how it works. And,
yeah.
you know, if you ask this one, how can I get this before I get this? Or it doesn't make sense that I'm getting this. Or I'm supposed. No, it's a system. And the idea of this system is that it makes it difficult for you.
Yeah.
And it keeps that restriction
of course.
how much people get in, because they know exploiting the system is possible.
Yeah.
So be ready for these kinds of challenges.
Of course.
They are inevitable. There would be drawbacks. There would be, you would have to be patient. You would have to probably also do something that you are not professionally trained to do, or take up any kind of job just to survive or to grow into, but with the mind that, okay, I am eventually going to get where I want to be.
Exactly. So, like, in my case, in order for me to be permanent resident in Finland, I needed to have a contract. So for me, the easiest way of getting a contract is go and knock the door of a restaurant. Hey, do you need a waiter? Yes, no, yes. Okay, cool. Can I be a waiter? Okay, come here next Monday. We'll do a tryout, and here's your contract.
No experience with waiting before.
No experience. That was in Denmark. No experience with waitering. No experience in a restaurant. Nothing. Come here next Tuesday. I come here, and I was there, and I got the job. Crappy pay, long hours, but that's the way you need to do to survive
in the beginning. Yeah.
Like at the beginning, we all think that is thriving, but then first we need to survive and then thrive.
Yes.
So it's a whole process.
I like that. The idea that you need to survive, to thrive.
Yeah.
So you should be, I say, adaptable, flexible, be willing to change, you know, if it's needed. In order to get, but with focus on where you actually want to be.
Yes.
And not keeping your eyes off from there, and doing everything within that means.
And once you learn how the system works, because it takes time, it doesn't matter, like you can come here already with a wonderful job, a position or education or whatever, you will come, you will still need to learn how the system works.
Yes.
Not only legally, but like how culturally it works. It's completely different. Once you start getting to know how things work, you adjust and start getting into that. For instance, for me, in order to get the job that I have now, or the jobs like in the fields that I have studied, I realized that it doesn't matter if I come from education or 5 years of working experience in Colombia, 2 years, 1 master's already in Denmark, having built up my own company here and trying to build it up. I wouldn't get a job.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Because they still don't know me.
Yeah.
So my workaround was, okay, I have to go back to the university, so I get a diploma from a Finnish institution that they
recognize at least. They know you.
Once and it worked like this, like immediately. Like I remember I started, of course, like it was the pandemic, so it was like a lot of unrest and different, like I don't know how to explain it, but like they shift the mentality, so they become a little bit more open in education at that moment, because there was a lot of people that suddenly couldn't work. So they went to, okay, we can train them in other things. So I applied for a master's program, I got in, and I started that master in September. And in October, I got my internship. Immediately, like to the first internship I applied, I got it. Yeah, even though I have already applied to that company before.
And nobody. And
I think at the beginning they didn't even check my CV just because of my name.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
This is how it works here, right? By the name, No, but it's really interesting how you put it, and I really like what you did in terms of getting retrained. And I think a lot of us we also had to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I've said in my own experience that, you know, I came here to study economics.
Yeah.
I ended up going to a vocational school to get a vocational training.
Yeah.
Because I knew that was the only way I could fit into the job market. And that's what someone might need to do in order to get to that point. So I really thank you for this experience that you've shared, because I know many people are with the prospect, or have the prospect that they want to kind of also try somewhere else. Yeah. They want to be, you know, they want to migrate for whatever reason. So the key is do the homework before you leave.
Exactly.
Be realistic about what to expect.
Yeah.
And have the mental balance that is needed
Yes.
to sustain yourself while living in a country where you decide probably you will make home for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I will add one more, and it's like, define what are the minimums that you will have in order for you to move.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, like, for me, moving to Denmark, to Finland was, I don't know if it wasn't, like, I consider it a mistake just because I didn't have the minimums. I moved here because of love. So I follow my ex-girlfriend. It was that moment in time that you say, like, okay, we try to be together.
Oh, you mean with the you didn't have the minimum with love, right?
No, of course not, because like I had a whole network of support in Denmark that could have been perhaps another pathway instead of just jumping into, okay, I'm going to live with you now in Finland.
Yeah.
And now I have certain minimums. For instance, I already know that I won't move to another country besides Colombia because I have my network there. If I don't have a job prior. So I have that condition. So okay, you can choose your conditions. Like, okay, at least I'm not gonna try and see if I stay legal like in the States. A lot of Colombians do that, and Latin Americans do that.
Yeah.
They go there, they go illegal. They stay like illegal is okay for them. That's their standard. They just cross the border and they're happy.
They're happy with that, yeah.
Now there are some people that might say, okay, I'm an asylum seeker. Okay, they might give me an asylum quite easy, so I will just go there and ask for the asylum. That can be the threshold.
Okay.
The other threshold could be, okay, I'm accepted in a university or in a vocational school or somewhere that will allow me to do this and that. That's okay, but have cleared that. Don't go like, ta-da! Now what?
And now what? Bubble is coming, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, because then you don't know how to learn the system. Like from which perspective you're going to understand the system. And what are you going to do? Like, have your threshold before jumping into into swimming.
That's a new perspective for me, you know. Have your threshold.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Your minimum standard. This is where I'm, you know, in the case of the worst case scenario, this is my standard. This is how low I can go.
Exactly. This is my commitment here. It's like, okay, I'm here not because for some might be this is gonna be a really rough. This country is not in war. So I'm safe here, then I will see what I can do. That's a minimum standard that a lot of communities in the world goes to that. I have friends in Colombia that they migrated because that situation, safety net. But yeah, you can put the other one, like, okay, I'm with my wife or with my love. I met this girl in this vacation.
And you got divorced.
If she's there and you're trying it, and that's your standard, that's your standard. Like, you define that, but have it before you move.
Now. And that's really key. And that's okay. And on a final note, the takeaway from this, all what we have discussed, okay, for someone starting off, okay, for whatever reason that they want to move, and you've shared your experience, which is very beautiful, and I know someone would benefit from listening to what you, or your experience, or your story of how you got here. What recommendation would you give in just a summary?
Be resilient, I would say. Be resilient. There is a quote on this Balboa movie of Rocky. I think it's like now like the 7th, 6th, I don't know which one, where he's talking to the kid. Well, he's already grown up, on the street outside the restaurant that he had, the Italian restaurant he has in Philly. And he says, like, I remember you were this small and you can hold here in my hand when you were a baby and so on. He says a paragraph that says, like, life will hit you hard, and no one will hit you as harder as life. Life don't care your feelings, don't care about anything. It will punch you in the face, and it will punch you and bring you down. And what is important is how you're willing to stand up again and fight. Because that's something that we need to learn. It doesn't matter like every place in the world that you are, even if you're home or here, life is tough. Life will hit us. And once you think you are happy and you're in a stable place, life will punch you again and will take you to the ground. It's a matter of how much we can stand up and fight again. So that's my only advice. Be resilient and be aware that you need to fight.
I like that. I think that's one key takeaway. Even when we are facing the mental fatigue, resilience. Even when we are facing the difficulty, resilience. And I really appreciate that effort. And I've seen that in you, because in no time, I would say you've gotten to, I would say your threshold. Kind of, you might not be there yet, but you're on a good standing now. And you are in a good standing to go where you want to be. And it was not easy. And I know it's still a struggle that, every day in this weather, dealing with this
winter weather,
being away from home, being away from your loved ones, being away from family, being away from everything, the culture where you could be loud. They have their impact, but you are resilient enough to keep going and keep facing what challenge, it comes. And that's something that I admire in you. And I think we all can also take away from, keep going, keep pushing, no matter what.
And remember, we are always worse than tomorrow, but better than yesterday.
Always. Always. You always see your problems like, I didn't know that.
You're always worse than tomorrow. Tomorrow is gonna be better better than yesterday, because yesterday you were in a worse position than today.
Always. And it's always gonna be better by the time we look at it tomorrow. It's not the worst problem we have to deal with.
Why did I call for this thing?
Thank you so much, Pedro. It was really nice to have this chat with you. And I appreciate it on your part. And this is not the last time we're gonna be talking.
I hope so.
And I know we're gonna be sharing experiences, through all this. And thank you so much, and all the best in your endeavors as you go on.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, man.